Welcome back to another one of my videos. On today's project, we're going to be working on this bear cub on top of this pumpkin. A little bit of a Halloween slash fall theme. This is my first ever attempt at a carving. It was a little bit difficult, but I got through it. If you guys follow along the video, you'll see the process, and you can let me know how it turned out. Let's get to it. Here I'm using a Milwaukee M12 mini chainsaw to carve the base, the bottom of the carving. This little chainsaw came in handy throughout the project. Highly recommend it if you don't have one. Pick one up at your local Home Depot, or if you already have a gas chainsaw, you can go ahead and use that. Here I'm using an angle grinder to give shape to the bottom of the pumpkin. And the blade I'm using on here is a cut saw blade. And it's the coarse version. They have a fine, a coarse, and a medium. The base I'm using here is a Rockwell clamp base. And you can look it up online and find the best price. I think I got this one refurbished, and I think I picked it up on eBay. Since we have the basic shape of the pumpkin at the bottom, we're going to do the top now with the angle grinder. Take your time, go slow, don't take off too much. Just get the basic shape of the pumpkin, and if you like the size of it, then cut in a little bit deeper, a little bit at a time. You don't have to rush. Here we are a little bit forward in time, and we have given the arms a basic shape, and the pumpkin is pretty much there. We're going to keep working at it and taking our time. We're going to lay this guy back down, and we're going to give the face a basic shape. There you saw Sharpied in a face on him, and just going to take our time and give him the basic shape of the face with this angle grinder and the cut saw. Previously I had already given him some ears, but I hadn't really shaped his face, and I need to come in here and cut down a nose for him, so I had to cut down those ears again, and we're gonna reshape them here in a little bit. But we got to get that nose, and usually the snout protrudes a little bit on these bears. Now that he's taken basic shape and the nose is where I want it, I feel comfortable in shaping the basic forms of the ears back again. Moving on to the back side, we're gonna shape the form of his legs. We're gonna cut off quite a bit of wood here, and we're gonna form his tail right here, as well as the back side of his legs. And with that, we've reached somewhat his final form. As you can see, everything has come together and the bear looks like a bear. Here's the backside, his little tail, and the back of his legs. Here I'm using a Fordham SR Flex shaft grinder, and the grinding disc that's on here is a Typhoon. It's the fine version. This one gets into the smaller crevices and cracks, and I like using this for a little bit of finer detail work. Sharpening those eyes, and let's get to carving the basic form of his eyes, snout, and his mouth. Moving on, here's another one of Kutzall's little grinding attachments. This is the medium, and I'm using it to get some more of this wood out of the way and give him a better shape. Here's another one of Kutzall's attachments. This one right here is the fine, and it gets you the finer details in there without making it too gritty. It's finer attachment, so you won't need to do much sanding after using this attachment. This attachment right here is the needle version of the fine 1/8 shaft bit from Kutzall. Any and all these bits can be purchased through Kutzall, and if you use an affiliate link, which I'm not affiliated, I just like their products, but you can look at some other YouTube videos from other guys that do carvings, and you can use one of their affiliate links and get 10% off. By the way, that picture that I'm holding in my hands, I copied it off of Google, saved the image, and printed it out on my computer. It's just one that I'm using as a reference for the bear that I'm carving. Now let's move on to his claws. As you can see, I didn't have enough material here on the bear for the claws to protrude out, and so they're going to be kind of sunken in. It's going to look a little bit weird, but I think we're going to make it work. Here we have most of the face already carved out. We're just getting in the finer details, as well as the snout's pretty much done, and we got the nostrils carved out as well. And by the way, this is another cut saw bit. As you can tell, I have quite a bit of their bits, and this is my first time using them, and I really like them. They're pretty good. I've seen other YouTubers use them, and they recommended them, and I see why. Now we're giving the pumpkin its final shape, and we're using some more of these cut saw bits, and these work really well to get into hard to reach areas and give you an easier time to carve this out. Now let's carve those vertical ridges on here. We're gonna pencil them in, well actually sharpen them in, and we're gonna use another of the cut saw bits to give it the basic form, and then we'll come and deepen these with another version of a cut saw bit here in a little bit. Here we're giving the pumpkin its final shape, and we're using one of those cut saw bits once again, and as you can tell there's a big crack right here, which we're going to later address off camera. We're going to use Famo wood filler in here. I really like that wood filler because it's easy to sand out, and it fills in the gaps quite nicely. In this current state, the cut bear, the cracks in the bear have been filled. Now we're just giving it some texturing, fur texturing all over the body, the arms, and a little bit on the back, but since the back won't be seen much, we're not going to do the same texturing on the back side. We'll do a kind of a paint texturing later on in the video. Now that the body's done, we're getting to the face and we're doing the final details on his face here. Let's get to the base as we're nearing the home stretch. As you can see, we're just knocking off some of this loose wood that was left over from the initial carving. Get this out of the way, as we're going to be putting some paint on here and we want it to adhere pretty good. Here we're going to sand the pumpkin with 120 grit, take away a lot of the marks that the cut saw blade has left behind, and give it a smoother finish and let the paint adhere to it. Now that I've reached the point where I'm satisfied with the final product, we're going to paint the bear. We're using unicorn spit. I like this paint because it adheres pretty well to wood, and you can do quite a bit of different things with this paint to layer it on, and it comes out semi-transparent, as you can see some of the wood underneath there. Here we're going with a darker orange, and we darkened it up with a few drops of black to highlight those crevices in the pumpkin. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow into this unicorn spit, and we're gonna give it some streaks and some highlights to the pumpkin, a little bit of character, and just make it pop and stand out a little bit more. Now that the pumpkin's been done, now let's get to the bear. We're gonna put different layers of brown on him, and to lighten up the brown, we're just gonna use a little bit of white. If we need to, we'll add a little bit of yellow and layer on the paint. This is the base right here. It's a darker brown, and later on we'll add the lighter colors on them. Here I jumped ahead a little bit and we added a lighter coat on top of the base, darker brown, but then I wanted to come back in here and give him some more of that natural brown looking color and just layer it on top. Jumping forward, and to not make the video any longer than it already is, here's the final product. We have about 4 or 5 different layers on top of that base dark brown on this bear, and I think it came out pretty well. There's a pumpkin right there. There's his legs and his little tail. Since I am gifting this bear to my father, I'm going to put a layer of protection because, as you know, acrylic or any type of glaze type of painting does not do good in the weather, especially the rain. So I'm going to give it a layer of epoxy, and I'm using a little bit of silver gray mica in that epoxy just to give it a little sparkle. Not much, but when the sun hits it, it'll get a little shine on there. Well, here we are in final stretch, just getting this epoxy on the bear. Every nook and cranny counts, so I'm making sure I take my time and get everywhere. That way it gets full coverage and the water won't affect this bear. If you stuck around till the end, I just want to thank you for watching till the end. I know it's a little bit longer than I wanted to. I usually try to stick to 12-13 minutes, but this was a project that took quite a bit of time and effort, so let me know what you think about it. Please hit that like button. If you like the videos and want to keep watching more, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Here he is, all done. Now we just gotta wait for that epoxy to dry. I should have put him indoors and done the process inside, because I did get a couple of bugs, but I was surprised that I didn't get more. Well, that's it for this one, guys. We'll see you on the next one.